There's something almost magical about the idea of winning the lottery. One day you're struggling to pay bills, the next you're signing a check for millions. But behind the glittering facade of instant wealth lies a dangerous truth. Sudden fortune can be a curse as much as a blessing. Across America, lottery winners and sudden millionaires have learned this lesson in the most brutal ways possible through betrayal, fraud, and even murder. These aren't just cautionary tales. They're real-life horror stories that reveal the darkest depths of human greed. Abraham Shakespeare, the lottery winner who paid with his life. In November 2006, Abraham Shakespeare, a 42-year-old truck delivery assistant from Frostproof, Florida, did what millions dream of. He won big. His lucky Florida lotto ticket scored him a $30 million jackpot with a lump sum payout of nearly $13 million after taxes. Overnight, this hard-working man with just an 8th grade education became a multimillionaire. At first, Shakespeare embraced his new wealth with childlike enthusiasm. He bought a sprawling $1.1 million mansion in a gated community and began helping everyone around him. Friends, family, even complete strangers benefited from his generosity. He paid off mortgages, covered funeral expenses, and bought groceries for those in need. He went from being considered a nobody to everybody needing him, said Centoria Butler, the mother of Shakespeare's youngest son. But this generosity came at a terrible cost. Shakespeare, who struggled with financial literacy, quickly became a target for every con artist and opportunist in Central Florida. Former co-workers, distant relatives, and even strangers showed up with sob stories, walking away with thousands. Michael Ford, the truck driver who had actually purchased the winning ticket, sued Shakespeare claiming the ticket was stolen, a case that went to trial before being decided in Shakespeare's favor. By late 2008, just 2 years after his windfall, Shakespeare had burned through nearly all of his fortune. Depressed and disillusioned, he reportedly told his mother, "I'd have been better off broke." That's when D.D. Moore entered his life. Moore, a 37-year-old with a history of fraud and deception, presented herself as a wealthy businesswoman who wanted to help Shakespeare manage what remained of his money. She paid off his delinquent mortgage, earning his trust, before systematically taking control of his remaining assets. Over several months, Moore convinced Shakespeare to sign over his mansion to her for just $65,000, took control of his $1 million annuity, and isolated him from friends and family. Then in April 2009, Shakespeare vanished. For nearly 2 years, Moore gave conflicting stories about his whereabouts until investigators discovered his body buried under a concrete slab on property Moore had purchased. The once lucky lottery winner had been shot twice in the chest. Moore was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole, a grim ending to what should have been a dream come true. Joe and Tina Corona, a deadly marriage of deception. In the upscale suburbs of Memphis, Joe and Tina Corona appeared to be living the American dream. Tina, a vivacious 44-year-old, had risen through the ranks at financial firm Cantor Fitzgerald to become a vice president, earning nearly $400,000 annually. Joe ran his own insurance business, and together they enjoyed a lifestyle filled with luxury cars, exclusive country club memberships, and frequent trips to Tunica's casinos. But beneath the surface, their marriage was built on lies and deception. Joe Corona had a dangerous gambling addiction that was bleeding them dry. Desperate to maintain their lavish lifestyle and cover his mounting losses, Joe began stealing from clients, including Tina's closest friends. Carrie Brown, Tina's childhood friend, became one of his victims. When she wanted to transfer a $20,000 annuity to Joe's company, he instructed her to make the check payable directly to him rather than the insurance company, a major red flag she unfortunately ignored. "I had complete trust because Tina was involved," Brown later recalled. As Joe's financial crimes grew more brazen, he made a deadly decision. Unknown to Tina, he took out multiple life insurance policies on her worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then on October 25th, 2018, the day they were supposed to host a party, Tina disappeared. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered Joe's web of financial fraud and the suspicious insurance policies. Though Tina's body has never been found, Joe Corona was charged with her murder. The case revealed how even seemingly perfect marriages can hide deadly secrets when money and desperation collide. The Black Widows, pensioners who killed for profit. Perhaps the most chilling cases involve Helen Galley and Olga Ruderschmidt, two elderly women who looked like harmless grandmothers but were actually cold-blooded killers. Their scheme was both simple and sinister. They would befriend homeless men, take out massive life insurance policies on them, and then arrange their accidental deaths. Their first known victim was Paul Vados, a 73-year-old homeless man they had adopted. In November 1999, Vados was found dead in a Los Angeles alley, apparently the victim of a hit and run. At the time, no one suspected foul play, until 6 years later when history repeated itself. In June 2005, Kenneth McDavid, another homeless man taken in by the women, was found dead in almost identical circumstances. Detective Nelson Hernandez immediately noticed red flags. The victim's bike tire wasn't actually flat, he recalled, and his clothes were covered in grease like he'd been placed under a car. Investigators discovered Golay and Rutterschmidt had taken out multiple insurance policies on both men worth $2.8 million. The women had pretended to be McDavid's fiancée and cousin to collect on the policies. Their meticulous planning included renting apartments for their victims to establish residency required for insurance policies and carefully timing the murders to occur just before the 2-year contestability period ended. Despite their age, both were in their 70s, the women showed no remorse. They were the most manipulative, cunning, pure con artists I've ever come across, said one investigator. In 2008, a jury agreed, convicting them of murder and sentencing them to life in prison without parole. The psychology behind the betrayals. What drives people to target the newly wealthy? Psychologists point to several disturbing factors. Many believe lottery winners don't deserve their wealth, making them perceived as easy targets. Sudden wealth often isolates winners from their normal support networks, leaving them vulnerable. Many winners, like Shakespeare, lack financial literacy but don't realize it, making them susceptible to bad advice. The lure of rationalization. Con artists like Moore convince themselves they're helping or deserve the money more than the winner. Protecting yourself from financial predators. These tragic stories offer important lessons for anyone who comes into sudden wealth. Assemble a trusted team of financial advisors, attorneys, and accountants before claiming winnings. Keep your windfall private. Many states allow anonymous claims. Beware of new best friends, especially those with financial opportunities. Set clear boundaries with family and friends about loans and gifts. Educate yourself about basic financial management. The stories of Abraham Shakespeare, Tina Corona, and the victims of the Black Widows serve as grim reminders that money doesn't solve problems. It often magnifies them. For every rags to riches success story, there are countless others who lost everything to predators, bad decisions, or their own demons. As Detective Dave Clark said of Shakespeare's case, "I think it was the best thing that ever happened to him and the worst thing that ever happened to him." The same could be said for many who suddenly find themselves holding that life-changing check. If these stories of greed, betrayal, and murder fascinated you, make sure to subscribe to Fraud and Fortunes for more deep dives into the dark side of sudden wealth. Because in the high-stakes game of fortune, the biggest jackpot is staying alive to enjoy it.